So you see that I was right all along in what was going on and what is going on, and we don't know who receives my information. It could be somebody within CIA or somebody within a CIA level program or the FBI that monitors my online stuff like a shadow and then picks out certain pieces of information to forward to the president. And then it looks like the president knows what's going on. And their hope is that I would go somewhere and stalk somebody, or they would call it stalking, go visit somebody. So, Moore's going to visit Hannity's presentation somewhere and say, oh, he must be stalking Hannity. That's their line that they use against me, plus other things. But those lines are actually their criminal enterprise and what they attempt to create in your life. And even if it isn't there, they'll say it's that with the people that they pay. The Democratic Party is making it worse for themselves by cooperating with the deep state mafia, because they will never be allowed to live independent lives of that Politburo entity, that communist entity, that fascist entity, that criminal entity beyond what we see in prosecutions today. You have to understand that there is the top 10% of crime in this nation that does not get prosecuted. And that's where Comey is. That's where Mueller is. That's where Rosenstein is. It's the top 10% of crime in this nation. There is no crime higher than what we see going on today based upon Mueller's contract, quite honestly. And again, a lot of it is inferred. How much does Mueller know? Mueller knows everything because he's engaged in it when he was employed in the Justice Department and in the FBI and in some of his private sector shenanigans. So they have engaged in crime continually. They don't need to know who's doing what. They know it's happening. So Mueller on cue went in, and I'm sure there were meetings. I am positive there were meetings upon meetings upon meetings. They have secret ways of meeting. However, who's going to investigate them? Nobody. Every one of those IGs is blackmailed not to go where they tell them not to go. But the illusion is that they get to go where it looks like they're doing something, but the cases either go nowhere or they're against people that the deep state mafia does not protect. So we see the government has failed and fallen again right on its face. At face value, the president was speaking, if it's true, again, we got to go back to the idea that first we have some supposed confidential informant for Brian Ross who could be duped or even be part of the deep state himself. So we don't know what's true in any of this. The president may not have been part of it at all. And again, it's kind of an oxymoronish case. Mr. Flynn is admitting to lying, and now he's going to testify for Mueller. I mean, you've got an admitted liar that is now saying something different. So the case at face value is really nothing. They have to develop things. What they did is trip the triggers so that Mr. Flynn would lie. That's all they did. There was no case. There still is no case, but for that. So you understand what I'm saying? There is no real case and never was a real case against Mr. Flynn, but for flipping the triggers. Now, there should be a concern in anybody's mind that Mr. Flynn ran out of money. So here we've been speaking about Mueller's budget. Mueller outspent Mr. Flynn into what? Into what he wanted him to do. What Woolsey had set in motion, what Comey had set in motion, what Rice had set in motion, what Obama had set in motion. Nobody today is holding the federal government responsible for its crimes. Nobody. Don't believe a Democrat. Don't believe a Republican. Don't believe a Green Party member. Realize your FBI today will set you up for a lifetime if they believe you could take them down with a law enforcement action or a court action, quite honestly. They own the courts. They will do to a judge what they've done to President Trump. However, they do it in the background in secrecy. CIA level technology. And it does include people like quite frankly, possibly Oprah. Oprah looks like she's involved in the whole Hollywood conspiracy and the whole Hollywood intelligence gathering operation. It's everywhere. It's even here in do nothing, go nowhere, Santa Fe. They're teaching everyday Americans how to be communist Politburo members. Remember, I told you, Russians are not communist. They've moved on to something else. Mueller, Comey, Rosenstein, and the rest of them are communist subversives trying to overthrow the election of the presidency by outspending with your tax dollar. They are tax dollar capitalists. You should be angry. You should vote every single deep state person out. You should plan to pour into those streets. Your president is not a crook. Mueller, Rosenstein, Comey, they are guilty of felonies that have caused death. They are capital criminals. Wake up. I've told you for years, and I'm telling you again. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.